Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News Today starts now.
We are taking a live look here at the state capitol, a massive security presence in Lansing as Michigan prepares for violence that could erupt ahead of expected weekend protests.
And high demand but low supply. Several local communities are forced to cancel vaccine appointments amid vaccine shortages across Metro Detroit.
And taking a look outside this morning, going to want to grab your jacket, maybe something to scoop through all that fog. We're dealing with some freezing fog this morning. I think that's downtown.
I like how you were like, grab your jacket. I was like, you should also grab a flashlight.
Yeah. Grab a flashlight, anything to scoop through that fog this morning. Well, it's 7 o'clock. I'm Grant Herms.
And I'm Priya Mann. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday morning. Let's turn right over to Andrew, and we're talking about some really cold temps mixed in with that fog.
That's right, and that can cause invisible ice to form. That is the phrase we need to memorize for ourselves and our family members this morning as we're driving and walking. Now, there are no alerts up, but invisible ice may be out there, a thin layer of ice that you can't see because of fog hitting hard surfaces at or below freezing and turning into a thin layer of ice. 29 degrees, still below freezing at breakfast time. It slowly thaws as we get closer to noontime with 33 degrees, and we'll see partly to mostly cloudy skies for today, highs up to around 36. Not much in the way of snow, but there could be a scattered flurry or two late in the afternoon or in the evening. Right now, it's only 28 for our friends in Pontiac, 27 degrees over in Howell. Visibility is now improved there. That's some good news, but don't be fooled. It was way below freezing just less than an hour ago, so you may have a thin layer of invisible ice there. And we still have very low visibility, only about a quarter-mile visibility from Adrian and into Monroe also. We'll talk more about Sunday and a better chance of snow coming up.
All right, thanks, Andrew. Well, security is on high alert at the state capitol ahead of tomorrow's planned protest.
And you're getting a live look at the state capitol right now. Some right-wing groups plan to be armed and are calling for chaos. And all this has led to the National Guard being called up. And as Jason Colthorpe reports, many other security measures now being taken in Lansing.
We're at the Romney building across from the Capitol where the governor's office is. Doors, windows, all boarded up. And just a few hundred yards from here at Lansing City Hall, surrounded by fencing. And that's not all.
There is an uneasy feeling as you drive around downtown Lansing. Government buildings protected, businesses including MLive's Lansing newsroom boarded up, all in preparation for Sunday's armed protest at the Capitol.
First and foremost, I think we're all have to be saddened and even perhaps horrified that we got to this point.
Retired Brigadier General Mike McDaniel served as the Assistant Adjutant General for Homeland Security, Michigan National Guard.
Well, I think that we're starting to see a little bit of stratification among these different groups.
Groups like the Proud Boys and Boogaloo Boys, who have ramped up their rhetoric so much in recent days. Other militia groups are staying away from Sunday's protest. And while the Capitol might be adequately protected by soldiers and state police, McDaniel says there's more to worry about.
That doesn't mean that we shouldn't be on guard. When you harden one target, and we're dealing with sort of an insurgency or an insurrection, what happens is other softer targets are sought by those same groups.
There have been literally thousands and thousands of threats to elected leaders in the state of Michigan.
And those threats, says AG Dana Nessel, must not go unanswered.
I personally believe that we have to start cracking down as hard as possible on the people who are making these threats.
McDaniel thinks there's a good chance things remain peaceful here Sunday, mainly because the communication and coordination between all of the law enforcement here in Lansing has been much better than what we saw January 6th in Washington, D.C. And he says it's going to have to stay that way for a few weeks until we see how this movement plays out. We're in Lansing. Jason Colthorpe, Local 4.
And from Lansing to our nation's capital, where 21,000 National Guard troops will be on hand for the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden. The National Mall, where Americans have traditionally gathered to watch a new president be sworn in, has also been closed to the public through at least Thursday as part of those new security measures. There's also miles of security fencing. Streets have been barricaded and several bridges between D.C. and Virginia are closed. D.C.'s mayor says protection measures will be in place for as long as necessary after Wednesday's inauguration.
Time now is 7:04. Detroit police continue to search on the city's east side for a driver who hit a police cruiser and left his Jeep with 2 young kids inside. Police say they were called to the area of 7 Mile and Hayes for an assault. When officers arrived, they say a man hit a patrol car and then just drove off. They later found the Jeep down the road with a 4- and 5-year-old inside and no sign of the driver. The children were not hurt.
It's 7:05, time for the latest in the coronavirus news here. The state has reported nearly 2,600 new cases of the virus, along with 29 new deaths. Worldwide, the COVID-19 death toll has now surpassed 2 million. That's according to Johns Hopkins University. This morning, some county health departments are rescheduling vaccine appointments.
Supply shortages have Governor Whitmer and 2 other Midwest governors calling on the federal government to either buy more or allow states to directly purchase it. As Larry Spruill reports, people had trouble just scheduling appointments, and now they'll have to wait even longer for their shots.
A lot of places are waiting for more vaccines to come in, like Henry Ford Hospital, and other places are having to cancel upcoming appointments. Meanwhile, the bottom line is there aren't enough vaccines to go around. Friday, Henry Ford Hospital leaders addressed the vaccines and the magnitude of this project.
Henry Ford alone will deliver more than 1 million individual doses of this 2-dose vaccine, which means making several million vaccination appointments over the next several months.
But Henry Ford leaders say their upcoming Pfizer vaccine shipment next week only represents about 37% of what they expected to receive, forcing them now to take necessary precautions.
We have more than 800 appointments scheduled through Saturday and into the next week for our workforce, and we currently have enough vaccine on hand to last through next Wednesday. With a limited vaccine supply at this time, we're prioritizing vaccinations for existing Henry Ford patients who are ages 65 and older or meet the broader eligibility requirements announced last week by the state of Michigan.
And they're not alone. There's a shortage in St. Clair County and Washtenaw County as well.
We were planning for a larger number of doses this coming week. We had over 3,000 scheduled. And we found out this afternoon that we weren't getting all of the doses that we were planning for.
Susan Ringler-Cerniglia with the Washtenaw County Health Department says they also have to pull back.
Unfortunately, that means we're having to cancel at least one of our clinics. We are canceling the one coming up on Tuesday, the 19th.
And Washtenaw County's Health Department says those people who they had to cancel those upcoming appointments for next week, they will reschedule them for February the 9th. Meanwhile, here at Henry Ford Hospital, they have enough to last until next Wednesday. Larry Spruill, Local 4.
All right, thank you, Larry. Time now is 7:07, and Wayne County officially named its new sheriff. A 3-person panel of county officials has appointed Deputy Chief Raphael Washington to replace the late Benny Napoleon. Washington has 37 years in law enforcement and has also worked for the Detroit Police Department. He takes over the position immediately and has to run for election in 2022.
New this morning, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles is no longer. It's now Stellantis. FCA has now closed a deal to merge with the French automaker group PSA. Stellantis is now the 4th largest automaker in the world. It will maintain all of FCA's vehicles like Jeeps, Rams, and Fiat mini cars. There is no Stellantis brand. That's just the name of the holding company for this merger.
I kind of like that.
I do too. It's a nice name.
I wonder if I'm thinking like Atlantis.
That's what it sounds like to me, both like Stellar and Atlantis.
Yeah. Very cool. I can't wait to see their logo.
Me too.
Well, some good news and some bad news. No one hit the Mega Millions jackpot last night, but someone in Michigan did win $1 million.
All I know is it wasn't me.
Nah, it wasn't me either.
So check your tickets right here. The winning numbers are 3, 11, 12, 38, 43, and 15 with a megaplier of 4. It's 3, 11, 12, 38, 43, and 15. The next Mega Millions drawing is on Tuesday. The estimated jackpot is at $850 million. And remember, you can still play the Powerball. Tonight's jackpot is a whopping $640 million.
All right, Grant, when you were reading those numbers, were you kind of doing your own little Vanna White?
I was a little bit. Yeah.
I felt that. I felt like the presentation.
If only I had something to touch. It would just,
Oh, Andrew, did you win the $1 million?
Well, in the commercial break, I'm sure we'll all be checking our tickets, so stay tuned. Let's see if we're back, everybody, in just a couple of minutes. And if and when we are, we'll talk about this. Some snow still showing up here on Storm Tracker 4. What does it mean for your weekend forecast? We'll talk about that as we go through your holiday forecast. It is MLK Day weekend, after all. All that in just a few minutes.